All right, so let's have everyone come down to the ground, and we're going to start with a prone plank. So forearms down, toes or knees, and begin. So as we get started here, we're just trying to kind of feel where we are in space, a little bit of pressure through the fingertips. The chin is tucked. Knees and hips are soft, so I'm not locked out. And then as you exhale, pull the low abs, belly button, and ribs up to the ceiling. 20 seconds here. If you want to cycle through a little bit of a calf stretch, you may. Just don't allow that to affect the hips or spine as we get going. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So forearm down, fingertips down. Pull the armpit and ribs up as you come up into that static side plank. It's only going to be 30 seconds each side here. As you exhale, try to connect the ribs and hips on the bottom. 3, 2, 1. Good. Second side. And begin up. So we've got 10 seconds here. Then we're going to have our first one with the weight. I'm going to grab 5 pounds for this first one. You can probably not more than 10, but weights at any point, or put down whatever you're using for weight. 3, 2, 1. Good. So starting on your back with your knees up high. So shins are horizontal, low back is ever so slightly in contact with the ground. And we're just going to hand the weight. It's going to come down to the ground, up, across, and switch. Chin is slightly tucked. Ribs stay down. We're trying not to counterbalance with the knees. So I'm not rotating the opposite way. Just side to side here. 10 more seconds. Hands are traveling over the lower sternum. It's not up by my chin, both for safety of transferring the weight, but also to get the load down into the pec and out of the top of the shoulder. 3, 2, 1. Good. Now the weight's going to be in one hand, and we're going to control as we do counterbalance just a little bit. So my knees are going opposite the weight, but my ribs stay down and then come back together. Breathe out as you open that angle, keeping the belly button to spine. So there's no lumbar extension here. Ribs stay down. Chin stays tucked. You don't have to get very large here to activate the obliques here. Don't allow yourself to come into extension. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And switch sides. If you need to do a quick bridge, you may. Other side starts in 3, 2, 1. Really focus on the breath, pulling the ribs down, keeping the belly button to the spine. So that we aren't getting into that extension rotation. Your back is going to be doing a little bit of work here, but we're not letting it take over. By keeping the ribs and belly button down, we're going to help drive some of that load into the obliques and stay out of the back. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good. Come up to half kneeling. The weight is going to be opposite the down knee. So from here, we're coming up into a curl and then overhead press. The shoulders, the hips, the ribs, none of those reflect the movement of the arm. Palm faces you the whole time, so we're going to stick with a hammer grip. Breathing out as the hand gets overhead to keep the ribs down to prevent from getting into extension. But we should have a little bit of stretch in the front of the hip. Ten seconds. Chances are at this point we're not getting a ton of arm burn. We're trying to stabilize the spine as we work through that whole range of motion. 3, 2, 1, switch sides. So take a moment getting into the half kneeling. Glutes are engaged, a little bit of stretch in the front of the hip flexor. Curl and reach, begin. If you don't have stretch in the front of the hip, you can move the front foot forward. Just make sure the shoulders come forward with it so we're still long through the spine and it doesn't pull, again, it doesn't pull you into this extension pattern. Ten seconds. Nice and long, trying to get all the way up at the top without pushing that shoulder into your ear. 3, 2, 1. Good. Hands and knees. It's going to be a pointer position. The leg is static. We're rowing the weight up to your ribs and then punching straight out to the side. Your hand is not going to get behind you. As you row, you're going to set that shoulder blade and then keep it at the spine as you punch out. We're not punching out and up. So the leg is back. That leg doesn't move. Row up, punch out, back and in. This is the first one where you'll know whether you chose an appropriate weight. Probably this is where that 5 pounds versus 7.5 or 10 makes a big difference. And we get that long lever out away from the body. Reaching your heel backwards, keep the ribs and belly button pulled up to the spine and the chin tucked. So we've got that nice long neutral spine engaged through the core. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, switch sides. So hand down or fist long through the fingertips to support the wrist. If you're going from palm, begin up, out, in, down, trying to keep that weight traveling at a crisp 90-degree angle, horizontal and vertical. Ten seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Onto your back. It's going to be a single leg bridge. The weight this first time is on the same side as your planted foot. So the whole foot's down. If you're going 1+, leave the heel of the other foot. Tuck tailbone, lift up. Second leg in the air. And then we're doing a small fly motion. Palm to the ceiling. It's going to be very similar arm movement to the one we did with the counter rotation. But now we're keeping the hips up and horizontal. If you need a little assistance, trying to help stabilize, exhale as you get long. This is one where, since it might help you tune in if you close your eyes, try to feel where the weight is in your foot. You're actively pushing the foot down into the ground to lift the hips. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest and switch. So tuck and lift. The foot is flat into the ground. Other leg up is optional. Begin. Trying to feel the connection of ball of foot and that medial hamstring. Sit bones stay connected. Pelvic floor is lifted. Keep the chin tucked and relaxed, neck relaxed. "20 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. We're going to come back to a pointer. This time the leg is moving in and out, and we're going to be doing a tricep extension. So the arm movement is limited to elbow extension coming back. There's nothing through the shoulder unless you need to reset the shoulder blade. So starting fist or hand, same as before. Leg starts down as the weight is down. You're going to extend the weight back and your heel back at the same time. Begin. Pay attention to how much weight you have in your hand here. It's going to be tempting to rock back into the knee that's down. In and out. Extending from the hip. So your elbow's extending and your hip is extending. 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. Take a moment, get set, lift the ribs, belly button, chin's tucked. Begin. Heel back, hand back. If you're stuck between weights but you want to make it harder, grab only one end of the weight so you're getting the center. You're lengthening that lever, pushing the weight out past your fingertips. "15 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Good. Come on up to your feet. We're going to be up for a little while. This is one where if you want to grab a new weight, we're going to start with it pretty close to us. We will get to a little bit of a reach, but I'll let you know when that is if you want to change the weight. So we're going to start with the goblet squat. The weight is right at your collarbones. Keep it there to start. As we get into it, you can reach forward a little bit, but I'm not allowing that to pull my center of gravity forward. My hips don't follow. So this will make it easier to find your heels, easier to find your low abs, and squat. Chin stays tucked as you go down. So we're long through the back of the neck. As you get going here, if you want to reach forward a little bit, you may. But that reaching forward is not to engage the shoulders more. It's to help drive you into your high hamstrings and low abs. If you feel like you're getting down and then you feel your tailbone tuck under, initiate the whole movement with an exhale so that we're kind of pre-engaging the low abs, finding that neutral pelvis from the start. Ten seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So keeping your feet close, you're going to put that one foot slightly behind and up on the toe. The weight is going to track straight down your shin. As you hip hinge, push up through the heel and come up. So this is a loaded forward T, but we're taking the balance element out of it so that we can drive all the work into the glute and hamstring of the planted foot. The weight is opposite the planted foot. So I have it in my right hand, and then I'm going down towards my left big toe. Spine stays long. Hips are coming back just a little bit, but the knee isn't actively flexing. 5 seconds. Lift from the low abs. 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. So that foot's planted, the weight's in the heel, the back toe is down, and begin. Trying to stay nice and long through the spine. I don't care that you get down past mid-shin, but keep the weight in the heel, the hips go back. It might help with the free hand to put it on your high hamstring, so right below the fold of your glute, and try to keep tension in that muscle the entire time as you go down, and then pull yourself back up, pulling the hip under, pushing the heel down. 10 seconds. Three, 2, 1. Good. Switch hands again. Sorry, keep it in the same hand. That'll mean we're working the opposite leg we were just in. It's going to be a pulsing lunge. So now that foot goes back, the weight is going to track lateral to my ankle as back toes up, and I'm just dropping the back knee straight down to the ground. 80% of my weight is in the front foot. The free hand you can push forward to help draw that hip back. Think that you're sitting the back knee down, sitting into the left hip, or the hip of the forward foot, I should say. In my case, it's the left hip. Imagine that back foot is on a pillow. We're not shifting the weight back into it. 3, 2, 1, and switch. Same pattern, other side. So my feet are hip width apart, just a normal stride length forward, but my weight stays forward in the forward foot. My knee can come forward a little bit, but trying not to let it drive well past the toes. That might help if you think of dropping the weight, kind of almost like you're touching the outside of your shin as you go down. That'll also keep you forward over that front foot. 3, 2, 1. Good. Weights at the chest. We're going to do a small side T here. Once you're in the side T, you can reach the weight forward, back, come up. You can change whichever direction you reach the weight, but come up in between each time. Begin, please. So find the ball of the foot on the ground. The toes are spread for balance. The heavier the weight, the longer the angle, the more difficult it is going to be to keep everything aligned. Don't allow yourself to get pulled out of a neutral spine. The angle you choose for one does not need to be the angle you choose for the next. Feel free to challenge yourself here. 3, 2, 1. Switch your planted foot. And begin. The knee stays aligned with the second toe because I'm pressing the ball of the foot down and then pulling the hip back. So I'm not loading just the outside of the foot, but I'm not letting that knee cave either. So that dynamic tension of the push and the pull. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. The weight's going to come back to one hand. This time it's opposite your plant foot. We're going to do a curl as you lunge. So this time the knee comes up and then back. We've got a lot more moving pieces than that last lunge we did, but the goal is to have every rep at the bottom look like it did when we had fewer moving pieces. Begin. Hips stay square, pulling right behind the heel. Feet are hip width apart or even a little bit wider. And I'm going slow with that curl. I'm not just slinging it up there with momentum. Toes are spread through the balanced foot. Three, 2, 1. Switch sides. Other side starts in 3. Begin. $15 seconds. Make sure we're not, if at any point it's appropriate to put the weight down, please do. Make sure we're not getting into the neck and shoulders. The eyes are continuing to track down as you go down and come up as you come up. 3, 2, 1. Good. If you had a heavier weight to load the legs, now's probably a good time to drop back down. It's going to be a static lunge, tricep extension. So the weight is going to continue to be opposite the plant foot. So we're into that lunge as low as you feel is appropriate with 80% of the weight in the front foot. We are going to have a slight forward lean here. Row, kick back, in, down. You can almost reach forward here. So the weight is moving perpendicular to the spine on the row. Pull the shoulder blade back as the weight comes back. So we're getting that reset. It's tempting here to let the hand get way behind you, but don't allow the shoulder to dive forward. Keep the shoulder blade back to the spine. As the shoulder blade comes back, the ribs do not come forward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. And begin. So we're into that lunge, toes spread, weights in the heel, row and back. You can put the second hand on your ribs to make sure they don't pop forward. You can put it on your low back to make sure we're only extending the tricep, not the back. So feel free for that second hand to become another set of eyes for you, giving you feedback. Where are you in space? Five, 4, 3, 2. Good. Last one standing, then we'll do a quick sip of water. It's going to be a squat. We're chopping down. As you come down, the ribs rotate, the hips don't. So the upper body's, the mid body's moving, shoulders, ribs. The hips are not, the knees are not, and the head is going to track. So down and across. As I come up, the weight comes up on that same side. Chop up and down. The further your hands are in front of you, make sure the elbows stay in, but the more oblique you'll feel, hopefully, the more rotational challenge there is, certainly. So it'll be much harder not to swing the hips as we chop. Hips come straight back. Chin comes down with you every time. "20 seconds. Keeping the elbows in. Shoulders stay down as the weight comes up. And then that rotational movement is driven from the ribs across. Just like the goblet squat with the weight in front of you, resist the temptation to let everything follow the weight forward. 3, 2, 1. Good. Quick sip of water. Then we'll be back down on the ground. I'm going to go get my water. Good. Give yourself another 15 seconds or so. Then we'll meet back at the prone plank. If you want to get started now, you may. But otherwise, we'll start in about 10 seconds. Good. 5 seconds. All right. So we're working our way down. Fingertips are down, elbows are down, pressure all the way through the forearm. Try and keep it spread evenly. And begin. Chin's tucked, shoulder blades down. On the exhale, pull the belly button and ribs up. If you want to make it harder, we can get a little bit longer in the lever and then pull down. So I have got a towel under my forearms, but I'm imagining I'm trying to pull that towel down towards my toes without letting my lat pull me into extension. If you're doing that, be very intentional about your low abs, trying to pull up away from the elastic or waistline of your shorts or pants. Good. Knees are soft. Your quads are not taking over here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Where are we? All right. Now we're going to grab a weight. And we're doing that row to lateral punch. We're moving a little quicker, and we're going to mix up the order here. So the leg is back and static. That weight comes up to the ribs, straight out to the side, in and down, traveling at 90 degrees. Begin, please. We're really trying to isolate that movement. So as the elbow comes up, the shoulder blade comes to the spine, down away from the ear. We're locking it in there as the hand then comes straight out, in and down. Static reach through the leg, that heel's going towards the back wall. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch sides. Other side starts in 2, 1. Begin. Start with the position. The heel's back. That weight is down through the arm. Shoulders out of your ear. And then we can layer in that weight once we've got the spine position dialed. $15 seconds. Continue to breathe here. Some of these get tempting to hold your breath. Use the breath as an excuse to check in on your rib position, on your neck position. 3, 2, 1. Good. Onto your back. We're going to do that single leg bridge and fly motion. If you'd like to make this one more difficult, put the weight opposite your planted foot. So by controlling across midline, it's going to be a little more challenging. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Whole foot is on the ground. We have a little bit of weight in the ball of the foot, but that's not driving the knee inwards because we're keeping the hips connected, sit bones. Those bones at the bottom of that glute fold where the high hamstring inserts, we're trying to connect them to one another. $15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Quick bridge. If you need a reset, then we'll go to the other side, starting in 2. And begin. This is one where eyes closed might help you feel where you are in space. Breathing out as the weight gets further from midline. Three, 2, 1. Rest there. This one's new. It's going to be a side plank row to ceiling. The forearm is down, feet are stacked or knees are stacked. You can also put the top foot in front. The goal is for the weight to travel vertical. So it's going to come right past your chest. You're going to externally rotate at the shoulder and then punch up. Starting in 5. Get in that good solid side plank first and begin. Chin stays tucked. Your eyes are not following the weight here. They're about 10 feet in front of you on the ground. So that top ear's to the ceiling. My hope is that that row and lateral punch we did from the pointer will allow you to find the mid back as you anchor that shoulder blade to the spine away from the ear. "15 seconds. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch. Starting in 3, whole forearms down, your choice on feet or knees. Up and begin. Almost think of lifting the ribs as you lift the arm. So I'm not allowing for kind of a counter push. Hands come up, ribs stay up. 20 seconds. Slow and controlled. Feel if you ever need to drop the weight or go lower, don't hesitate on this one. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Back to the pointer tricep extension with the leg moving in and out. Be careful here that we're only extending the hip and the elbow. We're not getting into global extension of the neck and spine, or neck and low back, I should say. Starting in 2, 1, begin. Knee down, hand down, ribs lifted so you're supported on the diagonal. The elbow is set the whole time. Heel back, hand back. We're in. If it helps, stay out of the neck by putting your tongue flat to the roof of your mouth. As you tuck your chin, please do. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch. And begin. Ten seconds here. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest there. Come back to your back. We're going to do a dying bug. Weight optional, but we're only doing it on one side. So the leg opposite the weighted hand, you're moving on the diagonal, whether you use the weight or not. Heel down or up is your choice on the static side. Begin. Continue to breathe out as you extend away from midline. Low back stays slightly in contact with the ground. We're not smashing it. Five, 4, 3, 2, Good. Other side in 2, 1, begin. If you're using the weight and it feels like you're getting pinching or blocked at the top of the shoulder, you can widen that hand a little bit. And that might help center the head of the humerus in that shoulder joint. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good. Last one down on the ground. It's going to be a variation, a combo of 2 patterns we've done. You're in half kneeling, and we're going to do the diagonal chop that we did in a squat earlier. We're going to kind of reel it in a little bit. If you'd like to make it more difficult, bring your foot and shin in line with each other. Don't allow the back toe to turn out, then you've just recreated a triangle for stability. So I'd rather be parallel and offset than have that angle. Down, turn the ribs, not the hips, not the head. Straighter arm will be harder. So we're traveling from just outside the shoulder to just outside the knee. The quicker you go, the straighter your arms, the harder this will be, but don't allow it to get into your back. Head stays down, slightly tucked. As the hands come up, the ribs don't follow, the shoulders stay down. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, switch sides. So again, as narrow as you feel you can stabilize. A little bit of weight in that front foot. Resist the temptation to lean back. Begin. So that weight is staying in front. I'm not going to allow it to come all the way down and get back by my hip. Try and keep it out in front of you. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come up to your feet. Quick sip of water if you'd like. You can also change weights. We're going to start with the single leg deadlift. So the weight is opposite your planted foot. The back toe is just like maybe 3 to 6 inches behind the planted foot. And the weight travels down the shin of this front loaded foot. Begin. Try to keep the knee long. So imagine you're just sending your hips backwards as your shoulders come forward. Nice long spine. Hot hip on the hand on your high hamstring or your low abs, the front of the hip. We're trying to stay taut in back, open in front. Belly button stays to the spine as we come forward. Shoulder blades stay connected. So we've got that nice long spine. I'm not rounding through the spine at this point. 5, 4, 3, 2, switch. And begin. Hips stay square. I'm not letting it drop. I'm not rotating. Don't be shy about using the free hand here. When I come up, I'm pushing down through the front heel. My back foot never has more than about 5 pounds of pressure in it. It's just down for balance. If you feel that same stretch and length of a forward T, that's great. This is the pattern of a forward T. We're just taking the balance element out of it and adding weight. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Goblet squats. Weights come under the chin. Straight into it here. We're only doing about 15 seconds, trying to get a bit of a reload. So we're reintroducing that knee hinge with the hip hinge and ankles as well. All three are flexing and then extending. Spine stays long. 3, 2, 1. Good. Your choice. We're going to do lunges. We can do weight on the same side and a static lunge, or step back lunge and curl. It's going to be a minute on each side. So pick the weight, pick the challenge with that in mind. We're starting in 3, 2, 1, begin. So if we're doing the step back, the knee comes all the way through. Make sure your feet are hip width apart. If we're doing a static lunge, the weight's on the same side, the back foot's down, and that weight is tracking down to the outside of your ankle. 80% of the weight's in the front foot. Keep going here. You can pick and choose. You can change at any point. You can also get rid of the weight. So it's your choice. On the more dynamic we are, the more moving pieces to control. So make sure we're not letting that hip swing to the outside. Pull back. Lift the pelvic floor, lift the belly button, up and back. Ten seconds. Three, 2, 1, switch. And begin. Focus on the hips. The upper body we're using right now to load the lower body. So don't get distracted if your arms are screaming and it's taking away from the balance or control. Get rid of the weight or change the pattern so it's more appropriate. The goal here is to have every rep look the same. Weight through the heel, high hand. 5, 4, 3, 2. Good. Side T's. Switch the planted foot. Reaching is your option. Forward, overhead, weight, no reach. Whatever's appropriate at this point. So over. Nice, slow, controlled. We've got 45 seconds left. The goal here is to pace yourself so each one takes about a 5 count. Ball of foot stays down, hip stays back. If you're reaching the weight forward, make sure the shoulders aren't going forward. We're trying to keep the body pretty much within the length of your foot. 3, 2, 1. Switch your plant foot. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Sticking with that 5 count. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Each rep. Ball of foot down, toes spread. Most of your weight's in your heels, 60%. Three. Good. 2 more reps here. Good. Down to the ground. We'll end there. Last one's a new one. It's going to be a marching bridge. So we're going to get a lot of moving pieces here. Marching bridge as you hand the weight across. So we've already done this arm movement with the knees up, where we're trying to stabilize the spine, but that time we had all the feedback of the ground. Hopefully we're a little more tuned up now. So feet are at about hip width, feet are flat, and we're marching. So get a couple marches in, establish your rhythm and stability there. Then we're going to be handing that weight across, trying not to have any of that movement reflected in the feet or hips. This is a little bit like walking and chewing gum at this point. But the priority is spine and hip stability. The weight is traveling over mid-chest. So we're not getting too much shoulder. 15 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Rest and rest. Good work today. Thank you for joining me. And hopefully I will see you next time.